Alright, so let's talk about the first impressions on the new bunny girl that we just got, aka A. There is a few things to go through when it comes to first impressions. The most important to remember, of course, is that this is a day one first impressions and things might change as we keep testing. But overall, we can say already that just because of her burst and her pierce damage, it's looking like she is at least a T1 character. And depending on how well she's performing, it might even be a T0. But I think it's kind of hard to put her on a T0, but we'll see. That said, let's talk a little bit about, again, first impressions, how we're feeling about her, the skills, a few things that are weird, and also the elephant in the room, okay? The elephant in the room. Shift up, what is this gacha skin, bro? $60, and this is what you're getting for $60. Like, I'm sorry, but $60 for that feels like a fucking scam. Gacha skins are already a scam. It doesn't matter if it's as good quality as Rappi or like the one we just got with Rogue. But if you compare them, right, and you compare Rappi with Rogue, there is a clear fucking difference on these skins. That's it. Enough ranting about skins. Let's actually talk about 8. I'll make a separate video to rant about this skin later tomorrow. Okay? That's it. Before we jump into this, as usual, hello there. Let's welcome back to Waifus. I'm Sefhi, your favorite gambling addict. Today's topic: first impressions on 8 Agent Bunny. She looks fantastic. Really good assets, really good waifu, and also a pretty good character. We used 10 rocks in total, and we got 4 max ammo. And these 2 pieces was a first try, pretty good. Attack max ammo, charge speed, elemental charge speed, max ammo. So decent. Like these 2 pieces are bad because it's only 1 max ammo line, but I don't want to use more rocks on her because I need to save for milk, right? And milk 15 is already cutting it close. We got her with a phase 0 SR doll, Barber doll. We got her 777, and we got her resilience cube for now because of course she's a slow girl and she has full charge skills. Couple things about her skills, couple things about her gear. It looks like outside of the max ammo and some charge speed, you can ignore everything else. It does not matter since it's caster's attack will not benefit her. So I will say like the only thing you really get is max ammo, and then outside of that, as filler lines, if you get lucky, it would be actually the charge speed itself. But it's a pretty cheap girl to build if you get lucky with those lines. When it comes to her skills, there is a few things that are weird. First is the percentages, because it does not increase that much on every level. I don't think there is a single reason to be going past level 7 on any of her skills. Like look at this, from 7 to 8, it's a 1382 instead of a 13.13. On the burst skill, it goes from a 46 to a 50 something, right? And then the pierce damage is only a 10%. The only reason to go higher would be for the attack damage on the burst. So you can get 55% at level 10. That's the only skill that I will say it's maybe worth going past level 7. And even skill 1 and 2, I need to check the percentages, and I'll make an updated video when we actually go through the full review for the character. But as of right now, it might not even worth going for the level 7, because again, the increases you get on each level is too small. They are not that great. So when I have all the percentages for all the levels, I'll make an updated full review, of course, tomorrow or in a couple days, whenever it is. And we'll also talk about the tier list. That said, like I was saying, it looks like when we're talking about like B2s at least, right? If we talk about B2s, she is better than Mary, she's better than Blanc, better than NY in terms of like pure buff. Just because of that 55% or in my case 48% attack damage, that is already huge and is making characters do really good damage. Now, for some early tests, which are as usual Union range, not a great test. As you can see, Iron Wing manually in Red Hood, she's doing 2.5 while using a bunny, and Red Hood 4.4. Of course, if we put Crown, right, it goes to 2.8 and 5.7, but it's not that much difference from a 2.5 with 2.8 with Crown. That's really good. Then we put Grave 2.6. My Grave has a little bit more investment, right? Grave has 260k combat power versus my bunny 8 with 210. And then we were putting Mary for the pierce as well, 2.5, same damage. And then we were testing also for water for Toro, and she went from 4.6 with the Chrome team to a pretty big decrease to a 3.7 on the 8 one instead for the And then we're also testing non-Pierce characters, like how much is she increasing, right? And Cindy went from doing 5.1 billion. Maiden should have been on the middle, but I like Summer Anis more. I'm a sim for Anis, right? So Anis was in the middle. And so from 5.1, she went using Mary to 4.2. That is a huge increase. And I think she might be taking her spot on the Electro team, but that is a non-invested Mary, like a not really heavily invested Mary, right? No overload gear. So to be fair, right, your Mary probably will be doing a lot better. But when it comes to buffing, 8 will be way better buffer than anything Mary has to provide, even if you overload her. Because unless you are a simp and you have her MLB level 5 overload, like just for the stats, right? Just for the raw stats on attack, it doesn't matter. Because the Pierce does not change with overload, right? And then this attack is for herself. This attack damage doesn't affect the gear. The only thing that changes is the skill 2, the attack based on caster's attack. That's the only thing. And it's a 50% uptime skill, so it's up to you, right? If you have that fully invested, then yeah, maybe. But then again, if you have fully invested 8, she also has the caster attack buff. So 8 is a better buffer, so we might actually see her taking that spot on the Electro team. A lot of wells actually invested in Mary, and they are not going to be replacing her with a newly released character unless they have the resources to build her. But for other people, for example myself and plenty of people that never really invested into the Eva girls or didn't care about them or you don't have them, 8 is going to be a better option to actually invest. The other thing I want to mention is also important, I believe, when it comes to her skills, is the minimum range. I said this on my first impressions and I actually guessed it right, but basically when it comes to her minimum range, base minimum range, she can only hit the enemies that are in the back. Full charge to give you an actual pierce damage boost. Like if we go to any boss, it doesn't really matter, we go to water 3 minutes. If the boss is on the back and I full charge attack, my team will get a pierce damage bonus, right? Like for example, right there it's on the middle, it's not gonna count. If you wanna get the bonus, so if we come here and we pause, if you wanna get this skill 2 right here, activates when landing a full charge attack on target within the effective range, right? This only works on the back line when the enemy is far away. For you to actually proc this when the enemy is on the middle, you have to either burst, so she gets the 55% increase minimum range, or have 10 stacks on skill 1, full stacks, in order to hit that. It has to be 10 stacks. Even with 9 stacks, it will not work. Like even if you get 9 stacks here on the middle, it will not give the pierce damage. If you have 10 stacks and you burst, then you can also get this bonus when the enemies are on the front row, super close to you. But that's the only way. So for most people, this is not going to be a detriment because you are going to be bursting pretty fast, meaning you can get this on the midline and on the backline. And then after, 15 seconds, whatever it is, after 10 full charge shots, you will also be able to get this buff on all enemies that are in front. For some bosses, this means you might need to manual. For example, Kraken. The tentacles on the back for Kraken count as far away, Kraken himself counts as middle, and the front tentacles counts as close to you. So for some bosses, this might be something that you need to be careful about, but for most people, you can kind of forget about it as long as you are bursting with her for the 55% increase. But that's like the only thing to actually take into consideration. Honestly, outside of that, there's nothing else to say for the first impressions. She is a really good pierce buffer. I like her a lot. I don't care enough for the MLB, even though it's pretty good, but I don't care enough about her because I wanna try to get Milk MLB. I got kinda shafted though, 6 multis was kinda expensive. That's it honestly for the first impressions. She is looking like a really strong character, a really strong buffer. Her kit is pretty straightforward and nothing that is, incredibly complicated or anything. The only thing was this minimum range and it does work as we were expecting it. So that's gonna be about it for this video. As usual, we are live every single day. You guys have the links in the description down below. Good luck with your pool dinner rates and I'll see you in the next one.